all of that was worth $2 because this will not be. I'm warning you now. I mean, I'm a little bit out of my depth here. I mean, I've done, like, I woke up this morning and I thought, I'm going to be doing the most terrifying thing I've done in years, so I might as well put on my tightest shirt. If it starts getting cold in here, things are going to get awkward. I mean, yeah, I've done stand-up before, actually. One time, this was about a year ago, I was in a, open mic for a comedy club, and I opened with a joke about beating children, as we always do. And some dude from the back of the room was like, "Go back to New York!" And some of you seem confused, and I was too. I still don't get it to this day. Like, it's one of the most confusing things that anyone has ever said to me. Aside from when one guy once told me to suck a bag of dicks, that was weird. But yeah, as you guys might notice, you could say that I'm not from New York. You could say that I'm Asian, and I would say that you're racist. But no, so being an Asian comedian, I feel as though is a little bit easier because you have what I call the cultural crush, where you'll see an Asian comedian come up here and talk about how their parents say weird phrases in English wrong. And I can't really do that because I have no idea what my parents are saying any percentage of the time. Yeah, I really don't. Well, I do. I mean, they speak very good English. They usually use that English to say vaguely racist things. Exactly. The other day, and I say this for all of my stories, everything from when I was born to now happened to be the other day. My dad found out I had a girlfriend, and not found out as in I was hiding it from him, but he, he asked. He was like, "Hey, do you have a girlfriend?" And I was like, "Yeah." And the thing he said after, "I don't believe you," was, "Is she Filipino?" And I'm like, "No." "Is she white?" "Yes." And he goes, "Why?" I don't know, Dad, genetics, I guess. I mean... Yeah, exactly. So, you guys on Instagram and Facebook, yeah, social media, a lot of people. So, have you guys heard of something called the paracetamol challenge? No? Oh, well, you are in for a goddamn treat. So basically, if you guys don't know what paracetamol is, where's my water bottle? What paracetamol is, it's an over-the-counter painkiller, right? And the whole point of this challenge is to post videos, right? And to see who can take the most in one sitting. Do you all see how that's a horrible idea?
Yeah, it is a horrible idea.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's horrible. You could overdose and you could die. But if you think about it, it's kind of a morbid thought. But what if we just let it happen?
What?
Because if you think about it, any of the kids trying this don't have the cure for cancer up here, right? I mean, the worst case scenario is that some McDonald's somewhere is going to be understaffed for a couple days. It's true. Kids these days are really dumb and weird.
Yes.
And really weird. The other day, right, I was sitting at the bus stop, and there's this kid with his mom, right, and the kid's eating a fun-sized Snickers bar, right, and he turns to his mom and says, "Mom, why is it no matter how many of these I have, it never leads to fun?" Isn't that the saddest thing you've ever heard a kid say? This kid was 8, by the way. He should not be thinking like that. But he was. So, I mean, nothing really I could do about it. You guys ever, come to the realization that you hate all of your friends? Put your hand up if you've ever thought that. See, that question...
Cannot see that.
See, that question is how you can tell good friends from best friends. Because good friends will look at each other and they won't raise their hands, but best friends will be like, "Yeah, hate this guy." They'll look at you "Yeah, I hope he dies today." No. And I realized this when one of my friends got stuck on an escalator. You heard that right. What happened was we were waiting in Sunbridge. You know that one escalator in Sunbridge that just never works? Yeah. So we're waiting around. He's 20 minutes late. He calls me. As opposed to calling anybody else because I'm the leader or some shit. But he pulls out his phone and he snivels every time he talks to me. "Hey, I'm going to be late." I'm like, "All right. Okay, what's up?" And he goes, "I'm kind of stuck on an escalator." And I'm like, "All right, wait a minute. Are you stuck on an elevator?" No, an escalator." I'm like, "You're aware that escalators are just moving stairs, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, and they stopped moving." And I really should have just hung up the phone at that point. But I really wanted to know how this future joke was going to end. So I hang up the phone and I go over to that escalator, because I know which one it is. We all know which one it is. And there he is, just sitting in the middle of the escalator. And he sees me, he's like, oh, hey, look there. I'm like, yeah, I know you're up there. Just walk down. He goes, no, man, I can't. I'm like, why not? And he goes, because it's stuck. This is the same guy who thinks I'm in the Illuminati, by the way. I'm not going to answer that. Like, I don't know how he got the idea in his head, but I found out this because he called me around Super Bowl last year, right? The Broncos versus the Seahawks. And he calls me and he's like, what's up? And I'm like, what do you want? And he goes, so you're aware of the Super Bowl, right? And I'm like, well, I've never met him before, but... And he's like, can you, like, I don't know, pull some of your Illuminati strings and make the Seahawks win? And I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll see what I can do. And then the Seahawks won. And really, that did not help my case at all. And then a couple months after that, right, there was, what's the one thing that Leonardo DiCaprio never wins? An Oscar, yeah? The Oscars came around, he's like, hey man, can you like, maybe, I don't know, make Leo win an Oscar? And I am so sick of him at this point. I'm just like, no, he can't. He's like, what? He can't. He can't win an Oscar. He's like, why? And I'm like, it's all part of the plan. He can't win. Hung up on him. Called me 9 times that day. Didn't answer. Yeah. And here's the best part. And by the best part, I mean the worst part. I was at a party, which is something I do, believe it or not. And I was sitting at this table. And this is a party from like all over the place, right? There are people coming in from like the States and stuff. I don't know how anybody knew anybody. I think it was sort of just like a situation of there's a party somewhere, let's go. So I'm sitting at this table, right, and I'm playing with this American $1 bill. And as you all know, the $1 bill is notorious for having a lot of Illuminati imagery on it. Yeah? And so what happens is that I'm playing with this dollar bill, and my friend is there. His name is Devin, and I hate him. This is Illuminati guy, by the way, getting the mic stand, in case you guys are wondering where I'm going. So he sees me, and this boy is trashed. Like, he is so drunk or high on something, right? And he sees me, right? He walks in the kitchen, and he sees me, like, with this dollar bill. And because of that, now he just knows. He just knows I'm in the Illuminati now, right? So he runs back into the kitchen, right? And he comes back with this, like, really thick Sharpie marker. Okay? And he goes up to this wall, he knocks all the pictures off of it. And then everybody's looking at him, because we want to know why he's doing this. So then, him in his weird drunken state draws like this giant triangle on the wall. Triangle, like an eye in it, yeah? And he was trying to draw a circle, but he was drunk, so it looked more like a potato with a triangle. So, you know, eye, triangle, Illuminati, right? And then, basically what's happening is that he points at the triangle. And he points at me. He points at the triangle. Points back at me. Triangle, me. Triangle, me. Yeah? And what he's trying to do is tell everybody that I am in the Illuminati. Which I'm not, by the way, if any of you were concerned. I can't answer that. Anyway. So, there he is, and he's like drunk at this point, and now he's just waving both of his arms. But like, he has zero coordination, so he's kind of just doing something that looks a little bit like this. So, that was the moment I realized that I kind of wanted to kill him. But I didn't, because that's the first rule of friendship. You don't kill your friends. Arguably, this is the most important rule of friendship. Do not kill your friends. Unless they have resale value. Okay, I'm going to leave you guys with this. You guys know what Tinder is, right? Yeah, that dating app. Anybody here use Tinder? Anybody? Oh, either way, I couldn't see. It's all like black. I can't see anything. And I had this idea for an app, and this is going to blow your mind, okay? So it's an app like Tinder, but for people who want to meet up and fight. Yeah? 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 But wait for this. I'm going to call it Rumbler. Thank you guys. You've been great. Good night.